So here I am again. For those of you who didn't meet me earlier, I'm Laura King, and I'm a hypnotherapist, and I use hypnosis and NLP to help people achieve whatever they want to achieve in life between happiness and focus and positive thinking. Do you think focus and positive thinking help you in competition? Do you think that has anything to do with how well you do? Pretty much. Isn't that true with anything, though? So what we know is that with concentration, it's the ability to effortlessly concentrate and stay focused. Now, that's the last horse I ever owned. I raised him from birth. He was a rugged lark appendix quarter horse. He became an orphan horse because I moved him from one barn to another barn, trying to keep him somewhere where I could get there. I was working so many hours, and I never got there. So finally he found a good home. But this is on my backyard in Florida, and he was a really neat little horse that I raised from birth. It was kind of fun. Sold him when he was, I think, 8, so I had him 8 years. Lark's Summit for my company. So concentration. Does anybody in the room, have they ever been labeled with something that causes them to believe they can't concentrate? What are those letters? ADD. Oh, ADD. Really, if somebody has ADD, that means they actually have a better ability to concentrate once they learn how to focus themselves and learn how to have a habit pattern of focus. Because really, ADD is where you think your mind is going lots of places. If you train it to stay focused, really what they're talking about in ADD is your conscious mind. Creating a subconscious mind habit pattern to concentrate would be the effortless ability to do what you do when you do it. Does your ADD affect you when you drive the car? Because why? You really believe and trust you drive that car from your subconscious mind, don't you? And you do. Guess what else you do from the subconscious mind? You ride your horse. The part of concentration to learn is the practice creates what in the brain? When you practice doing something, let's say you learn how to do something new. You practice it and it creates memory that causes you to keep that memory of how to do it the way you've set yourself up to do it.
Is it like mind memory or body memory?
Both. She asked, is it mind memory or body memory? It's technically both. When you drive a car, is it mind memory or body memory? Both. I really like to associate with driving the car because you have to use the same neurons of the brain to do both. What happens, though, is that you must remember that driving the car, from birth until when you started driving, you already knew how to drive. It was formulated in your brain. You didn't get behind the steering wheel and learn to stop at a red light. Whoever you'd been in the car with had been stopping at a lot of red lights while you were in the car, or you wouldn't be here. So think about how you assume that you know how to drive your car. You assume how to park it. You don't get out and measure your parking spot. But when you're a horse, what do you worry about? Distances? Everything? So when you practice something, the excellent concentration is learned. Concentration is learned. Practice is the bonus part that you're doing. Your mind is going to improve by the practice because you're creating the routine. Hypnosis can help because hypnosis can make those 10,000 impressions faster. So if we know that, we can use the tools that you're learning here and this memory stick I gave you to get there faster. Exercises. Now, I put exercises in here because we're going to go through a process that I want to explain to you that I've learned recently, and I'm adding some extra bonuses in tonight's session that are just really important, and you're going to really enjoy that. But what keeps you from concentration? What are concentration busters? They're on the board so you can see them. Anxiety, lack of confidence, distractions, and boredom. Now, all of those are real. When you're focused in driving, do you have anxiety when you drive your car? Do you have lack of confidence when you drive your car? Do you have distractions when you drive your car? Do you get bored driving your car? Do you still get where you're going? Yes. So the process to learn how the brain functions is quit adding so much, gosh, the word that just came to my mind was googly gosh, stuff to your ride. Stick to what you want. Because anxiety is the quality of how you think, but anxiety is the concern of your competition, your horse's readiness. In reality, how can you judge that? Walk up to your horse, knock, knock, horse, are you ready for competition today? Horse could care less. Do you care less? No. Mm-mm. In reality, the competition, you're concerned about your quality of competition. What else do you get concerned about at a dressage show? You ready for my list? Who's judging? Who am I showing against? Who's there? Who's going to see me? Who's watching? What's the weather? What are we going to do? What time am I going? How's the footing? When should I get on? Now, was that when I should get on, or which side do I get on?
I think the most important thing is kind of a look.
Oh, yeah. How do I look? But we all have habits that create in our brain by what? Learned behavior. Remember that. Everything is learned. I love that statement because if it's learned, we can what? Unlearn it. So your anxiety about what you're going out there to do creates a lot of negative energy. So what we really want to do is release performance anxiety, not really care what we look like. We still want to look good, but we don't really care what we look like to what other people's opinions are. Because you're going to look good anyway. You've been practicing to get there. You've got all the right equipment. You've got your horse. You're ready. You know, it's worrying about it isn't going to make it any better. Do you think worrying about whether your braids are straight or whether your jacket's straight is going to help you between the barn and the ring? No. You've done all your preparation. Be there. Be present with what you're doing. Lack of confidence. When confidence is low, the mental energy is wasted. What is confidence anyway? Did you step out of the shower and leave it in the shower? Did it go down the drain? Did somebody give it to you?
Believing in yourself.
Believing in yourself. How do we learn to believe in ourselves? And excuse me?
Believing in our own abilities.
Believing in our own abilities? What's the definition of confidence? Actually, just accepting yourself. To be confident doesn't mean you're perfect, doesn't mean anything else other than accepting where you are at that moment is okay. Being, back to my title of my book, perfect enough. There's a lot of meaning behind that, isn't there? Accepting where you are right this moment is just perfect enough. Because between the barn and the arena, are you going to learn any more? No. So what do you have to depend on? The subconscious mind's ability to activate and stimulate your muscle memory with your mind memory to execute your movements. That's it. So lack of confidence affects the ability to do that. Distractions. What can distract you? Outside noises, unrelated concerns from your life. So there are real ones, and there are what? Imaginary ones. That big monster that might come at the other end of the ring. So distractions are distractions that are connected to your brain that you allow to affect you. Not consciously, but what? Subconsciously. So how do we get rid of that? It is the ability to have a replacement for it. That's like the cancel on the purple elephant. If you feel a distraction, in a nanosecond of time, you can shift your thinking and change it back to the reality of what you're doing, back to being on task. Boredom. It's easy to let your mind wander while engaged in something you have mastered. So you can be in the moment of the ride and knowing what you're doing, and your mind can wander. Do you do that when you drive? So this is kind of a combo effect to realize how you have to keep your mind knowing what you're doing, avoid the distractions, and know what you're going to do next. So if you feel boredom coming in, or you feel yourself trying to balance your checkbook while you're going down the center aisle, center lane, you have to say, wait a minute, I need to be thinking of this. Or just keeping your mind still. Be still. Be quiet and ride. But what we get used to is the sounds and stuff. How many people drive with music playing in the car? Most. So your brain is used to noises. How many people take lessons with a headset in their ear? How many people take a lot of lessons in schooling and they get used to being told what to do every movement? And then, where is that sound? Where is that voice when you go down center line? It's quiet. And your brain doesn't know what to do. So you have to practice both. You need your instructions, and then you need to practice doing it without someone telling you what to do. Had one lady, all she'd ever done was lessons with instructions. So when she went to the arena, she would rush through the test so fast, every judge said, slow down. Nothing's chasing you. Why was she in a rush? Because it was uncomfortable, because it was quiet. And she was used to sounds. That's true of a lot of things. If you study with music, you better take the test with music. If you practice something with music, you better have the music to have the best performance. So what we're doing now is trying to figure out how come the brain associates with smell and sound so much to memorize things. So if you want to practice something that you're going to do, make sure you're mimicking it exactly how you're going to do it. At least a couple times to show the brain what you're asking when you're practicing that set thing. Because the brain will be able to release all of this if it's not concentrating on what's wrong. So these are all the concentration busters. So with hypnosis, we erase all those things. We can rewire if something is bothering you how to respond. We can take the lack of confidence and build your confidence. Distractions, being able to shield distractions out of your mind so they don't bother you. Boredom. I'm not sure very many people in this room are bored with their writing, so that's just in my PowerPoint because I got to keep it there for concentration busters. But I think with dressage, and I'm going to say something really profound here, it's hard to be bored in dressage because you've always got something else you can move up to do and learn. I really believe that. You got a different test, you've got so much you can keep doing, and there's so much to learn that the last one really isn't, I don't think, here for this part. Because with dressage, it's easy to keep going. What happens when concentration is lacking? Body tends to get stiff, hands get fixed, which is difficult to gauge the horse's stride when you're stiff. Your stomach and your upper body tighten. It lowers your ability to perform, to problem solve. When you're in a tense state, is it easy to come up with solutions? No. Because why? Your brain is a state of confusion. It doesn't have the ability to regulate how you're thinking. So the horse feels the tension and does what? It reacts. So you're always wondering. Then once you haven't experienced this program in your brain of an overreaction of a horse, and you have a fear of that, is that, and you know the horse isn't doing it anymore, or you got a new horse and it doesn't even have the same reaction as that horse. When you ride the new horse or the better trained horse, are you reacting as the horse reacting when you have something happen? 9 out of 10 times it's the human reacting first. The horse has already gotten over it. His pea brain hasn't memorized it like ours has. It takes lots of repetition for a horse to memorize something to have a cause and effect like that. Can you remember a time when you reacted and you felt the horse react? Anybody react and remember that? So thinking about what happens when you have the lack of concentration, to me concentration is just being present with what you're doing and allowing yourself to develop the roadmap of what you've learned to develop how to keep it going. That's basically what it is. Eliminating the noise in your head. Basic attention exercise. Now I wrote, and the reason I gave you all PowerPoints was so you would have some of these notes in here to go back and go over. That's the reason. Because there are some exercises in both PowerPoints that you should go use. There was one for self-hypnosis and the last one. This is a good one. For the noises in your head, is to attend to your thoughts of the day and notice when your mind wanders and be present and concentrate or use your own mantra. Now, using your own mantra in writing, it would be a word you want to use. Relax, focus. Focus is a great word. Just practice the word focus and see if you can stay focused on something for a period of time. I know on the golf course I use, fairways, the green, ball in the hole. In the horses, it's focus and it maybe get on to the next movement, concentration, and think about what movement's next. Be still, breathe. Breathe is a great mantra. And what you're doing when you do this exercise, there are 2 things. 1, you're getting your mind off of what you don't want to think about. 2, you start breathing and then you shut the chit-chat up of your conscious mind so your subconscious mind can let you ride. Your automatic response is going to do it correctly anyway, just like driving the car. I'm very repetition on that. The repetition, remembering that comment, that, oh, well, remember Laura said to me, if I just keep my mind still or I think about the purple elephant, I'm going to do the next thing anyway. Because your automatic response is going to be what you've learned how to ride. Reward yourself. When you notice improvement, praise yourself. Make yourself feel good about what you've done. Because what you're doing, you're adding a positive to the betterment of your movement or the betterment of how you did it, and then you're adding that positive environmental thought to the event. But rewarding yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally is looking at the 30 things you did right and avoiding that's what I said this morning. Instead of focusing on the mistake, focus on all the good. I like to look at and teach that mistakes are hiccups. Do you stop your day and make a big deal if you hiccup? No, you hiccup and you keep breathing and you go on. So start thinking of these monumental mistakes that you make in your head, minimize them and think of them as a hiccup. It really does make a huge difference. What did you do right? What did you do good? What did you have an improvement with? The reward, what does praise do for yourself? Makes you feel good. So if a feel-good attached to the event, is the event going to last longer? Is the event going to feel better longer? In the process of that, the eliminating the noise in your head is the chit-chat of what? Woulda, coulda, shouldas, what ifs. Focus. We want to be able to focus. What is focus? If I tell you to look at this little black clicker here. Focus on this clicker. Now when I say that, you look at it, right? If you focus on it, what are you supposed to focus about it? So really, when you're on the horse, what are you focusing on? Focus isn't just inserting concentration into your subconscious mind. You have to work at a deeper awareness of what you're doing for the focus to become your automatic habit. So really what does focus mean? Is to retrain your brain to be present with what you're doing. We know we can multitask. We know we can think a lot of things at one time. We know we can do a lot. We can, this isn't what I suggest, but we can drive a car, do the radio, talk to the kids, talk on the telephone, and do a lot, can't we? Not all of them are real good. I started to say texting, but I took that out of my... So we know we can multitask, but what we want to do is have ability to really be in control of it, so our focal point becomes really important. And focus really is just the ability to stay present. So outside distractions, so other things don't affect you. This is another exercise to do. So you have 2 exercises here. This was find a quiet place, close your eyes and breathe, and focus your attention on the space between your eyes. When your mind drifts, bring it back and notice where it goes. Now practice to music with lyrics. Hold your attention for 1 minute. Meaning, practice on the space with music on, avoid listening to the music. It's a really good exercise. Because what then you do, you realize when you are not focused, when you're not doing this. So the purpose of the exercise is to train your brain. Once you do it a couple of times, it becomes like an automatic response. Practice of that is also being able to find something that feels good and use it when you don't feel good. Like when the guy's drilling on my tooth, I'm not there present with him. I'm at Lake Summit thinking of being on the boat because he didn't give me a shot. And I don't want to feel the pain. So every time I hear the drill, I go deeper and deeper, and I'm at Lake Summit. So I have control over my mind because I practice being able to be where I want my mind to be. Shifting, changing the focus. Self-hypnosis can help, which those exercises were technically self-hypnosis. Okay? The lemon test today was self-hypnosis. I just guided you. Bring a state to intense concentration. Relax the muscles. Have you ever sat and really practiced relaxing your muscles? Your legs, your toes. Ever thought about relaxing how about relaxing your nose? Think about that. Relax your nose. Relax your cheeks. Relax your jaws. Anybody ever been thought they had TMJ? Gone in for their jaws hurting? A trick for you. Go to bed with the tongue in the roof of your mouth and part your teeth and go to sleep. You'll wake up that way. And you cannot grind your teeth with your tongue in the roof of your mouth. It's physically impossible. Physically impossible. So learning how to use and relax your muscles changes your reactions to distractions. That's what you're learning here. I'm teaching all kinds of tools to do it yourself. There's a little magic. Hit play on your MP3 player and listen to the focus and concentration MP3 I gave you. It makes it a lot easier. But these are things you can do on the conscious mind and practice also. This is a slide we did earlier today. I just have it in here to remind you that the external events go in. You have some sort of reaction in your mind already in there to how you're going to respond to 90% of what happens in your life. From something you've learned, from memories, from decisions, from time coding, from meta programs that are in there. 90% of your brain already knows how to respond to 90% of what you're going to experience every day. There's still a 10% that we don't know about, that you still have to be prepared for. But your self-preservation will help you be prepared for your behavior to be more balanced. So knowing that all of this impacts you, what would be your purpose to learn how to be in control of your thoughts? So you don't have negative thoughts. Because what does a negative thought produce inside of you? stress, anxiety, stiffness on the horse, reminding you of the two brains, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Know them. Find out how they work. Know thyself. How do you function? What upsets you? Does the weather bother you? Does an argument with your spouse before you go to the barn bother you? Are you worrying about a child bother you? You worried about something? What is in your brain? How do you learn? Think about what causes you to learn. Are you best? We mentioned this morning. Do you learn from all kinds of areas and all kinds of ways? Which way do you learn the best? Because learning and memory are important. Does anybody here think they have a lack of good memory? Technically, we all have a photographic memory. We see it, we think it, we write it, we know it, it's in the brain. It's the ability to recall. Some recall is instantaneous and automatic. And recall becomes the repetition of the nerve cells become connected to the recall information. You lose it, you use it, or you lose it. So you've got to use your brain. Your brain is a muscle. It gets atrophy. You have to use it. I will say in dressage you use it a lot. So I don't think it's getting a lot of atrophy in dressage, to be honest with you. The fact is, information is stored in the subconscious mind, and the same connectors of emotion, action, reaction is how you learned it. When you learn it a certain way, I mentioned this earlier, you react to it the same way. So I'll give you an example. A trainer, this is one I know very well, my daughter's trainer, he would yell a lot. It got to where she only rode well when he yelled. And it wasn't very pleasant all the time either, but he was great. I loved him really well for a lot of years. But his yelling got attached to him reacting, her reacting. She would not jump those big fences correctly until he yelled at her. Kids do that. Kids, if they aren't picking up their clothes and they don't pick them up till you yell at them, guess what? Picking up their clothes get attached to the yell. So they only pick up their clothes when they get yelled at. It's learned behavior. The reaction to how you learn it becomes what you do. Your emotion that's attached to it when you learn it. So if you're learning something new and you're angry, your best performance is going to become when you're angry to reproduce it. So what you want to really implement is the ability to focus and not be upset about something else and bring it with you on the horse. And if you're upset that you missed a movement, let it go and forgive yourself to learn it correctly. That goes back to appreciating the good you've done because you're affecting your next learning. That makes sense? You're affecting it by how you're responding to it. The learning and the memory are attached to how you learn it. And you want to use it so you don't lose it. That means practicing it mentally. Using the visualizations to practice what you learned several times before you do it again. Visualize it correctly again and again and again and again. Watch DVDs. You get from your sessions here, you have DVDs. Watch Betsy's got some great ones. Anything that you're going to learn, repetition in your brain, seeing it is creating more road miles in your brain to help you get to that 10,000 memory bank processing. Building your own natural-born talent. Brain-friendly learning. What we mean by this, the brain-friendly learning, is what is going in your life when you've learned how to ride. What happened when you were learning? What was the energy at the barn, positive or negative? Was your last lesson environment motivating or supportive? It's a combo. This is a huge process of realizing that it's all combined. Well, I happened to experience being here at the barn while y'all were learning today. It was a real positive, happy day, wasn't it? So everything learned today has got a really good, positive, friendly, learned environment attached to it, doesn't it? It's not always that way. at a lot of places. So this is special. This is nice. And I've been to Betsy's Barn in New Jersey. It's the same way up there. Knowing that the lesson environment is more motivating if you're encouraged, isn't it? I grew up with one of my siblings telling me how stupid I am. So everything was difficult for me to learn till I learned about the brain, and I don't have to be stupid anymore. I can learn whatever I want. But that held me back a lot of years. But instead, I don't have to believe that anymore. So if there's anything attached to when you learn how to ride or where you've been, heck, I was in the wrong saddle, remember? I went in the hunt seat class with a saddle seat saddle. But luckily we all laughed at it, so I have laughter attached to it. I'm not depressed and I'm not forlorn over it. I thought it was kind of funny when I figured out what I did. But that was my basic attitude. Anyway, I was a 12-year-old in Pahokee who thought she was the expert at everything. I was giving swimming lessons and riding lessons at the age of 12. So this one day I had this beautiful kid on my horse, Dinky. Dinky was a cow pony. And I see her cantering across the sugarcane field, and I see the girth hanging between the horse's legs. I went, ooh, my gosh. Luckily, I had this little quarter-horse pony that was faster than lightning. And guess who caught up to Dinky in lightning speed? And I casually just said, I got to check your girth real quick. And I put her girth back on. The whole thing had come undone. I was a real good instructor. But that girl did go on and ride, and she ended up riding Tennessee Walkers, and she was national championship for like 6 years. So. Without a girth. Without a girth. So it's the environment. I want you to think about this really. This is probably a very important part of what you're going to go through. Because what the ideal learning environment needs to be is what? Yes. There needs to be the bubble of happiness. Let stress, and even if there's anything that goes on, you have to, let it go. Walk in the barn and leave all the stuff in your car. When you drive in the gate to your barn, or you walk out to your barn, or you're going someplace for learning, leave all the stuff that's negative in the car. When you go show, roll your windows down on the way there and let it out the window. The state of mind, state is everything. The mind, how you think of where you are, the words that you use for where you are. Imagination, these are negative. Imagine tired, lethargic, bored, anxious, worried, fearful, angry, resentful. Would this be a best state for learning? Now again, imagine alert, happy, joyful, curious, excited, peaceful, playful. Would that be a better state to be conducive for learning? What was today? Happy. A great lunch. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody was smiling. And everybody was there to what? Learn. And everybody learned from watching each other. Isn't that incredible? And think of the process because you were here, not there. The environment always has to be controlled. Can it be? Yes, it can be, but you're controlling your state. The fact of your state of mind is a profound way to how you perceive it. Can you be in a positive manner and go into a negative space and stay positive? Can you? Most of the time, not. Here's why. The fact is the state is a profound effect on your ability to learn. Learning depends on the communication between the brain cells of neurons to neurons, depending on the chemical, the neurotransmitters. In the negative state, these negative transmitters are absent. Learning is simply not possible at all. So you walk into a place, you're happy, and everybody is negative. We have mirror neurons that absorb who we're exposed to. You have to be really good to override a lot of negative. I choose just to leave. 50 makes you leave. Good, I'm glad to hear that. Because if you're in this state, it's simply not possible. The brain will not let you. The neurons in the brain cannot communicate like they're supposed to. That's science. Resourceful states. This is a lot of words that we put on here because it's in your list for you to take home. These are the happy ones. There's like, you could Google it and get like pages of them. But I just wanted to think about, if you memorize these words and you add these words to your vocabulary when you're learning or when you're teaching, you're brilliant. You know, you're clever, you're careful, carefree, nice. That was nice. Wonderful, trusting. These words build a positive learning brain cell environment for the neuron treatment of learning, which makes learning healthier, happier, and easier because you're going to reproduce what you learned just like you learned it. Happy. Less resourceful. These are the negative ones. If you hear these words a lot, I had a session with somebody the other day. It was a phone session. So person said, yeah, my trainer got here today and all I heard about, she's not a morning person, all the problems in her life, and what a shitty day, what a terrible day it was, and blah, blah, blah. And I went, wow, I bet you were excited to get on your horse and start riding, huh? No. She says, no, she got on my horse and rode my horse first. I went, oh, did you do a good job? Well, the horse's mouth was sore after she's done. I said, oh, you must really like that trainer, huh? But I don't say anything about trainers, I don't say anything about riders, I don't go there. But what I did say, can you help change the environment when she gets there? She says, oh, I don't know. So the next week I go, did you try some of the techniques I taught you? It worked. At least while the trainer was there, she was in a better mood. And then she got a better plan to what she wanted to do when that happens again. I said, well, she's not a morning person, change your time to the afternoon. Have a bunch of flowers for her when she comes. But in this state of the less resourceful is the embarrassed, guarded, lazy, mad. These are the words and things, if these are relating to something that's going on in your brain, stop it. Don't allow this in your life. Activity. List 3 positive learning experiences. Can everybody think of 3 positive learning experiences in their life? List 3 times when you were meant to learn, but very little learning took place. Example, poor teacher, dull class. Now, choose words to describe your state in each of the 6 examples. What conclusions do you draw to the importance of your state of learning? Do this exercise. Sit down and just practice this for a minute. And then take your good learning experiences and think about what you felt there and take those words and attach it to everything from this day forward. The joy, the excitement, the happiness. Someone asked me earlier tonight, are you tired? I went, no, not really, but God, am I tired? That thought hadn't entered my mind. I don't use the word tired. Do you know when you're talking on the telephone and you're driving and someone's talking to you, they're bypassing your critical factor and they're hypnotizing you. So whatever they're saying is going into your subconscious mind and making you be like what they're saying. Like my sister, I'd be done in Wellington at 8 o'clock at night. I get in my car and I jump in the car. I'm excited. I'm driving somewhere to meet my husband for dinner. And I get my sister on the phone and she's yawning and she's exhausted and how tired she is. And I'm going, wow, I'm getting tired too. Oh, God, you're putting that in my... Kathy, I got to go. Goodbye. I realized she was bypassing my critical factor and she doesn't work and she's tireder than I was and I just had 12 people. Well, whatever. I get energized. I'm happy. I choose that mindset. I choose that roadmap no matter what happens. And it works. So that mindset is going to help me stay what? Focused. Don't you all want me to focus when I'm hypnotizing you? Yeah. Do you all know you need to eat protein before you show? You need protein so your brain works. You need at least 72 grams of protein a day. If you eat carbs, your carbs will do this and drop you to here. And probably when you dropped ears when you're walking in the ring. When you're walking in the ring and your energy's down here and your brain's not functioning because carbs make you feel this high, and then they make you yawn and get sleepy going down here. Right? So protein lasts longer. Protein helps the brain function better. Protein makes it all work better. So too much stress causes the survival needs to dominate and the neurocortex to simply shut down. Stress shuts your brain down. I'm really stressing this tonight. I want you to get this. Even a person who experiences stress, the body goes into automatic reaction, commonly known as fight, flight, or fright, or freeze. There's actually 4 F's. That's the automatic response for what? Protecting you. So the state, there's no surprise that you may be accused of not being able to think. When you're in fear, flight, fright mode, are you thinking logically? No. Writing is stiffened and the student may react in ways which are not contributing to writing at their peak level. Because if you're stiff, you're not communicating with the horse. The zone to ride in. It's best in your comfort zone mentally, physically, and emotionally. Aren't you better riding when you're in that balanced state? In that balanced state, the subconscious mind takes over and rides, and it does a better job than the conscious mind. Back to the riding theory, back to the driving the car, back to letting the automatic response create your outcome, right? So what we know is it's best if it's real or imagined. The brain doesn't know the difference, so practice it correctly and keep the zone of your ride comfortable. What we're talking about here is the comfort zone of learning, the comfort zone of producing a peak performance. 5 key principles for friendly learning. Keep it real, facilitate the creation, honor your uniqueness, make it multisensory, be able to handle lots of senses around you. The state is everything, relaxed. Someone said to me, well, Laura, if I'm relaxed, I'm going to feel like I'm going to sleep. No, relaxed physically, mentally, emotionally is in the zone. They've proven that the more the state is in that zone, it's in that altered state of consciousness, which is the alpha state of best performance. That's the state you perform in. How do you learn? The visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic. We tapped into this morning. How many people here are kinesthetic learners? How many are visual learners? How many are auditory learners? So thinking this, the visual is the ability to see it and tend to think faster and see in pictures and to do it and have to see it to learn. So if you're being told what to do, is the eye seeing it? No. So sometimes you have to ask for a demo. Show me what this is. I want to learn this. Let me see what it looks like. So you want to see it. I gave you a whole list of words in your PowerPoint so you can go through them. These are words that you tend to use when you're a visual person. And I just put the list up here so they were in your PowerPoint for you. There's thousands of them. You can Google it and get long lists. This is just a short list. Auditory. Individuals learn best by hearing, focusing on words. So you do extremely well with voice commands. So you would actually, you focus on the words and you're able to breathe and go into the mode by being told what to do. You can hear it and do it if you're auditory. There are words that you can use, and you'll find that auditory people use these words a lot. Interesting to study this. This is a whole science of the mind. It's so cool. It's part of the neuro-linguistic programming information. So if you ever Google it, want more words or learn more about it, there's a whole bunch. I mentioned earlier this morning, Jane Savoya does a lot of this. I wrote about it. I'm going into doing all the studies right now with these words, with the environment, to create better ways for people to associate with their horses and everything. That's the purpose of putting this together like this. So these words are good for you to look at and figure out what you are. And then the kinesthetic. That's the feel. The experiencing the feel. You have to feel it. Once you feel it, if you're kinesthetic, your brain memorizes it better. So putting this all together, and here are words for feel, things that these hear and say if a person is kinesthetic. Putting that all together, I want you to know that with the hypnosis, you can become all three. Your brain can be trained to hear and implement what you want by training it to. That's part of the concentration MP3 that you have on your memory stick. It actually helps you become more auditory, because in dressage you get lessons by verbal 90% of the time, don't you? So you need to say, I can become auditory. What happens is the brain starts hearing the auditory and seeing it for yourself. Because technically, everybody's visual. A kinesthetic learner, an auditory learner can imagine an apple. You all get an apple in your mind? Who's someone that thought they were only a auditory learner? Anybody here an auditory learner? Could you see an apple? So you got a visual part of you too. See what I'm saying? So if you think you're visual, can you hear what an apple sounds like when you take a bite? So you can activate all parts of the learning. The hypnosis in the MP3s help you do that. So, but remember that if you are in a position where you are learning something new and you're just not getting it, think of all three ways of learning it and ask to experience it all three ways. So why I'm doing that. Because our brains can adjust it. There might be just some connection to why you're not getting a certain movement. So if you're hearing it, ask to see it, and then get back on your horse, hear it, have the visual, and then feel it. So we're putting all three learning techniques together, and your brain will memorize it even more. Do you know why I tell you to do visualizations and watch people on a video and really see it? Because we have mirror neurons in our brain, and when we see something, our mirror neurons will automatically mimic it. Monkey see, monkey do. Ever seen two children playing together? They start doing the exact same thing. Anybody that sat in my chair today, I mirrored every one of y'all, getting to know you and using my NLP techniques on you. Because as I mirrored you, I got more information out of you, because you would give me information back as I gave you information. It's a technique. Natural laws of mind. We've gone over this. What you think is what you get. Every thought causes a physical reaction. Your imagination's more powerful than knowledge. Everybody know that? Memorize that. You are what you think. A thought creates a physical reaction, and your imagination is stronger than knowledge. In dressage, you want to use your imagination to keep seeing it the way you want to do it. And you want to use your imagination, if you're a negative thinker, to become a positive thinker. If you're focusing on your mistakes, use your imagination to erase your mistakes and only think of your accomplishments. Unrealistic expectations will create stress, inhibit focus, and sabotage self-confidence and cause burnout. stay realistic with where you are and what you're learning. Create a roadmap where you're increasing it, but you've got to tell your brain what you want to increase it to. You've got to create a roadmap once again, a roadmap to your progression. So if you're doing one level, what's your next level? What's your next level? So you can see your progression, so you can imagine you can actually do it. Are y'all taking lessons and coming to clinics and listening to me speak tonight to improve your riding ability? Isn't that what we're here for? To increase your skill, to increase your knowledge, and increase what you do? So as you implement these processes, you unrealistic expectations, if you become realistic, then you help minimize and to jeopardize yourself. I mean, right now I decided I was going to go take a lesson with Betsy tomorrow, but can I go to the Olympics next time? Oh, I need a horse. Oh, I forgot that. Think about that. Our expectations give us the ability to know that what we can do. That's the first thing. I usually sit down, we're working in dressage with where they are, where they're going. What are your expectations? What are you wanting to accomplish? What do you need to do to get there? Overcoming mistakes. We've tapped into this. Betsy talked about praising yourself, but to overcome, number one is to forgive them. What does that mean? You make a mistake, forgive it? Yes, you want to forgive your mistake. You want to forgive yourself for doing it. Remind yourself of past learning progress, that you learn. Learn from your mistakes. List them and write them out and stop the behavior. Develop that action plan again. Create a plan. Has anybody here written down what they want to do with their riding? 1, 2, anybody else? It's really a good exercise. You know why? Goes back to the brain needing a roadmap of what you're asking of it. It's like a life plan. It's like a business plan. It's like knowing a roadmap to going somewhere. Like we came here. Too bad you can't type in into Siri and get the roadmap for your riding, you know what? Maybe you could. I shouldn't say that. I have a girlfriend that programmed her phone. She says, Laura, ask Siri what my name is. So it didn't matter the voice. I took her phone, I said, push the button, what's my name? Siri goes, well, you told me to call you bitch, but your name is Janie. I'm like, did you do this? She says, no. And I believed her. Programming what you want. That is the roadmap once again. Driving here. I got the address to where I was going. I programmed it into the car, and the car told me how to get here. Does your horse tell you how to get where you're going? No. It doesn't have navigator. It doesn't have Siri. So you have to do it. A roadmap to what you want to accomplish creates the layer of information for you to do it. Write it out. You have these instructions. Pull this out and remind yourself to do it. Important. List your successes. Practice positive self-talk. If you have a habit of being negative about anything, get some dry erase markers, make your list of your negative comments, write out the opposite of them, cut off the sheet, your negative comments, take your positive comments, and write them on your mirror. And the dry eraser, because it's easier to erase than, I used to say lipstick, and that's hard to get off. I have one client, she writes it on her rear view mirror in her car, the positive affirmation. She puts a new one every week. It's great. It reminds you to think the positive thoughts. Let's say if you're working in a particular movement, I am the expert at that movement. I get all my tempi changes. I get all my whatever. You put something positive that's going to be progressive for you. Surround yourself with positive people. Shift focus from mistakes to improving. Remind yourself why you ride. That's really important. If you're stressing over everything and you're angry about everything, where's the joy? Why do you have the horse? Remember, somebody came to me and her husband went to her and says, I never see you smile. Well, I really love my horse. Are you enjoying it? Is it fun? Isn't that why we do it? Because the joy, to be happy, to enjoy it, to have a good time with it. If you're not enjoying it, you might want to reevaluate why you're doing it. Why? Because you already got yourself into it and you can't get out of it? Sure, you can get out of it. If it's causing you too much anxiety and stress, guess what? 98% of all diseases is stress-related. So if your horse is causing you stress, reprogram yourself to enjoy your horse. Shift. Remind. My last sentence there is wonderful. Fake it till you make it. Have you ever heard that before? Pretend. Imagine. Visualize. My favorite words. And relax and enjoy it. That's the purpose of what we need to do for everything in our life. To live, to breathe, and relax. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Remember the other one from this morning. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, it's the definition of insanity. So let go of that and change your routine. Make that U-turn. Make that veer to the right. Change it. Because only you can do it inside of your own brain. I can guide you and I can be a facilitator. And you can hit play on the CD player. Unless you have a broken finger, use your other hand. People come to me, we're working on all this stuff, and they go, did you listen to the CD? No, I didn't have time. I go, what time does it take if you're sleeping? Hit play and go to sleep. Oh yeah, I forgot you said that. It doesn't take any time. But a secret. If you listen to the 20-minute session, it's like 3.5 hours sleep. It's a great power nap. Have a lot of equestrians go to their car and put it in and listen to it before they show. Use it as a power nap. It gives you lots of energy. Makes you feel really good. And we all want to feel good, don't we? There's a side effect to the hypnosis also. Harvard Studies wrote 2 books about it called The Relaxation Response. The side effect is it slows aging process. I'm actually 97. Actually, no. There's the book I've told you about, The Power to Win, Achieving Peak Performance. And they're my main CDs about releasing performance anxiety, concentration. So that's the mindset of how we want to shift. Now, think about your concentration. Think about how you learn. Think about how you're in control of everything I just taught you. You react to your own emotions. You learn better when you're happy. You perform better when you feel good. And you perform better when you're happy too. So erase all negativity out of your life and live every day with a smile on your face. When you smile, you release endorphins. Thank you. Thanks for having me.